Today, we're talking about a major immigration policy announced by former U.S. President Donald Trump that focuses on restricting and limiting the entry of foreign nationals into the United States in order to protect national security and public safety. According to the proclamation, the United States government believes that strict immigration screening is necessary to prevent terrorists, criminals, and other threats from entering the country. During Trump's first administration, similar travel restrictions were introduced and later upheld by the Supreme Court. These policies were reinstated again in 2025 through Executive Order 14,161 and Proclamation 10,949, which were designed to strengthen border security and ensure that individuals entering the United States do not pose risks to American citizens. The policy states that the United States must exercise extreme vigilance during the visa and immigration process, so authorities can identify individuals who might plan terrorist attacks, threaten national security, incite hate crimes, or exploit immigration laws for harmful purposes. According to the proclamation, one of the biggest challenges is the lack of reliable identity verification systems in some countries. In several nations, civil documents like birth certificates, marriage licenses, and criminal records are poorly maintained or easily forged. In some places, documents are handwritten or can be obtained through corruption or bribery, making it extremely difficult for U.S. officials to verify the identity or background of visa applicants. In other cases, law enforcement records are unreliable, meaning authorities cannot confirm whether someone has a criminal history. Some countries even struggle with basic documentation of life events such as births or marriages, which creates serious security risks when those individuals apply for U.S. visas. The U.S. government also raised concerns about corruption, terrorist activity, and weak government control in certain regions. For example, in some countries, only part of the territory is under government control, allowing terrorist organizations or criminal groups to operate freely. These groups may be involved in activities like drug trafficking, human smuggling, forced labor, or terrorism. Because of these risks, U.S. officials argue that admitting individuals from such regions without proper background verification could threaten American national security. Another issue highlighted in the proclamation is the misuse of citizenship by investment programs, also known as CBI programs. These programs allow individuals to obtain citizenship in a country by making a financial investment, sometimes without living there. According to U.S. officials, this system can allow individuals from restricted countries to bypass travel bans by purchasing citizenship in another country and then applying for a U.S. visa using that passport. Authorities warn that such programs can make it easier for people to hide their identities or financial assets and avoid security checks. The policy also addresses visa overstay problems. Data from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security shows that many foreign nationals from certain countries remain in the United States after their visas expire, violating immigration laws. Because of these high overstay rates, the government believes that stricter restrictions are necessary to reduce immigration abuse and enforce the law. Another controversial part of the proclamation is the limitation of certain visa exceptions. In previous policies, some family-based immigration categories were broadly allowed, even for individuals from restricted countries. However, the new proclamation narrows those exceptions because authorities believe family connections can sometimes be used as channels for fraudulent immigration, criminal activity, or even terrorist financing. The proclamation states that while legitimate cases can still be considered through special national interest waivers, broad automatic exemptions could weaken national security protections. As part of this policy, the U.S. government identified several countries where entry restrictions will apply. Nationals from countries such as Afghanistan, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Haiti, Eritrea, Burma, Chad, the Republic of Congo, and Equatorial Guinea remain under full travel restrictions. Additional countries including Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, Laos, and Syria have also been placed under full suspension of entry due to security concerns, unstable governments, or high visa overstay rates. In addition, the United States announced partial restrictions for nationals from several other countries, including Angola, Nigeria, Senegal, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and others. These restrictions may limit certain visa categories, such as tourist visas, student visas, and exchange visitor visas. Officials also stated that some restrictions could change, depending on whether countries improve their identity verification systems, reduce corruption, and cooperate with U.S. security agencies. The proclamation makes it clear that these measures are not meant to permanently block travel, but rather to pressure foreign governments to improve their documentation systems, share security information, and cooperate with the United States on immigration enforcement. The policy also outlines several important exceptions. Lawful permanent residents of the United States are not affected by these restrictions. Dual nationals traveling with passports from unrestricted countries may still enter the U.S. Diplomats, international organization officials, NATO personnel, and athletes participating in major global sporting events like the Olympics or the World Cup are also exempt. Additionally, individuals may receive case-by-case waivers if their travel is considered to be in the national interest of the United States. For example, witnesses in criminal investigations or individuals with critical humanitarian cases may still be allowed entry. The proclamation also confirms that people who have already been granted asylum or refugee status in the United States will not be affected, and individuals can still apply for asylum under existing U.S. laws. Another key feature of the policy is regular review. Every 180 days, U.S. officials must reassess the situation and decide whether restrictions should continue, be lifted, or expanded depending on global security conditions and cooperation from other countries. According to the administration, the ultimate goal of these restrictions is to protect American citizens, strengthen border security, and encourage other countries to improve their screening and information sharing systems. Supporters of the policy argue that strict immigration controls are necessary in an era of global terrorism and organized crime. Critics, however, say that broad travel restrictions can unfairly impact innocent travelers, families, and students who simply want to work, study, or visit the United States. As debates around immigration and national security continue, policies like this highlight the ongoing challenge governments face in balancing openness with safety. Whether these restrictions will remain in place or change in the future will likely depend on global security developments and diplomatic cooperation between the United States and the countries involved.